Now here's a practical yet very simple way, and it's one of many ways you can insulate your portfolio or the value of your wealth from the negative effects of. Arguably, there is one thing that most economists and financial experts are paying close attention to in 2024. And it's the one thing that really matters in terms of the value of your money and can really be a differentiating factor between whether you just survive this year or you really thrive. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Jumoke, and on this channel we talk about everything from personal finance to investing to wealth creation as well as self-development. So guys, we are on our way to 600. I was about to say 1,000, but we're not quite there yet. 600 subscribers. Thank you so much to every single one of you who subscribes. You mean so much to me. So over the past few weeks, I took some time, as I do on an annual basis, to do a deep dive into the most significant economic factors that will affect my finances this year. So notwithstanding the other economic events that are taking place at the moment, such as political instability, wars, 2024 being an election year for some major economies around the world, almost all economic and I suppose financial experts agree that the one thing to pay attention to this year, the most significant thing that will affect your finances this year, is inflation. So what is inflation? For those who might not be aware of what inflation is essentially the rise in price levels of goods and services. So the rise in pricing of the things you buy on a daily basis. For example, if you went into your grocery store on the 2nd of January and you bought a pint of milk, that pint of milk may have been $1.69, and then you go into the grocery store at the end of January and that same pint of milk turns out to be $2, for example. That is inflation. That phenomenon that has increased the price of milk is called inflation. Currently, inflation, i.e. the increase in price levels in the US, is 3.1%, and these figures are half of what they used to be a year ago. As an average consumer, we definitely do not want or like inflation, because it essentially means that we are paying more for the things we buy. Also, if your income or your salary or your pay is not increasing at the rate of inflation, it means that your purchasing power is lower, i.e. you can buy less things with your income because prices have gone up. Now, the good news is that since 2023, inflation has actually been declining, and central banks expect inflation to keep falling in 2024, which means, hopefully, we all get to see an easing in terms of the cost of living, i.e. things should get better. The second piece of good news is that a lot of investors are betting that the Federal Reserves in the USA could cut rates by up to 1.5% by the end of 2024, which will then leave interest rates closer to 4%. 4% is higher than where interest rates have been over the past 2 decades. It's definitely an improvement from where it was a year ago. Now, as you might know, inflation is one of the real determinants of whether or not central banks increase or decrease interest rates. And over the last year to 18 months, if you do own a home or you've taken out a loan, you most likely will have seen an increase in terms of your repayments, i.e. the interest rate you're paying on your loans. But that's only if you've taken out a facility that is a floating or variable rate. If you have a fixed rate, then you probably wouldn't have seen a change. One thing I will say is that you do not have to be a financial or economic expert to understand what goes on in the economy. However, if you are serious about growing your wealth and looking after your finances and improving them, you definitely should know at least the basics of things like inflation, interest rates, compounding interests, etc., and how these things can really take an effect on your finances or the value of your financial portfolio. And here is the reason why. When you understand the expectations around these variables by, I suppose, the powers that be, i.e. the central banks around the world or economists around the world, you can position your portfolio accordingly, either to insulate your wealth from impending doom, or on the flip side of that, you can expose your portfolio to economic tailwinds, good economic tailwinds that can lead to an increase in the value of your portfolio. Now, here's a practical yet very simple way, and it's one of many ways you can insulate your portfolio or the value of your wealth from the negative effects of inflation. As I mentioned, inflation in the US is around 3.1%. Instead of keeping your liquidity or your money in a checking account or a current account where you earn practically close to nothing, you can instead place your funds into a savings account where you're earning up to 5.3%. And if you think about it, that really is passive income. And if you're in the US, What that means is that your cash is growing at a rate of 2% annually when you net out inflation. If you're in the US and are looking for such an account where you can earn up to 4.75%, check out Sofi Investment and Savings. Now, they're not sponsoring this video. I'm not sponsored at all. They're, of course, one of many options you can go for. If you're in the UK, check out Investec, where you can earn up to 5.3%. However, as always, be sure to read any terms and conditions before depositing. As mentioned, there are several other ways to insulate your portfolio from the effects of inflation, and I will link a video that I've done before, somewhere here or there, where I've done a deep dive into the various options available to you. One of my core focuses, and I hope yours as well this year, is to be more intentional about our finances, learn new ways to protect what we have, and grow our wealth over time. If you have other strategic implementations that you administer to your portfolio, be sure to leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about it. As always, I would like to leave you with a proverb, and it says, "Wealth belongs to the one who enjoys it and not to the one who keeps it."